slide by you here. Hello.
Gonna make it to the 2 o'clock.
There we go. All right. Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Shenandoah Valley. My name is Rochelle Broom and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. At this time, would you all please take an opportunity to silence your cell phones? It's a great time to do it right at the beginning. We are a welcoming congregation united on the side of love and justice. We like to say we don't have to think alike to love alike. We strive to walk through this life with open hearts, open minds, and hope that all who walk this earth with us will find the strength and will to walk it with best intent as often as possible. May the time we spend together today in this place make us braver, more compassionate, and wiser than when we woke up this morning. If you are new to Unitarian Universalism, I encourage you to take note of our mission statement, which is printed on the front of your order of service. We also work together to promote the practice of the 8 principles, and those are printed on the inside of the order of service. Actually, they're on the back now. They're on the back of the service. It's our tradition to welcome first and second-time visitors, or those who may not have been with us for a while, to stand if you're willing and tell us who you are and where you are from. How about this side? Anybody new today who hasn't been with us?
Brand new. I'm David. My sister here, Joy Levine Abrams, lives in Black Mountain, and I'm visiting. And I'm really pleased to make it on a Sunday morning and see what all the hubbub's about.
Welcome, David.
Good morning. Anyone else on this side?
Hi, I'm Craig, and this is my wife Amy, and we are new to Black Mountain. We just moved here last week. We're looking for a new spiritual home, and I read the mission statement on your website and said, hey, let's check it out.
And welcome home to Black Mountain. Anyone else on this side? Yes. How about this side? Anyone new? Please.
I am Mary Vacacy, and my daughter Sarah Vacacy, who has spoken here, is coming to speak in October too. She just lives up the street. But my husband and I just bought a place in Black Mountain to be a temporary residence until we are full-time residents. But it's very nice to be here, and you notice I'm sitting between my 2 really good friends, Molly and Russ, and so they're wrapping me up with love.
Welcome. Anyone else on this side? Yes.
Hi, Bill. My name is Casey, and I'm Scott's loving wife. And every once in a while, I get up and out, but I'm riding the waves of Parkinson's. So we're here, we're there, we're up and down. So.
Good. Anyone else on this side?
Good morning, my name is Kyle. I'm actually a member of the Asheville congregation. I just felt like venturing out and visiting a neighboring congregation today, so thank you.
Welcome.
3, 2, 1. Make sure I don't miss anybody. Well, welcome to you all. We're exceedingly glad that you're here. And if you're interested in learning more about us, or you'd like to receive our newsletter, or find out how you can be more involved in this community, there's a white card, looks like this, in the back of the pews. It can also be found on the table out in the foyer. If you fill that out and either leave it in the collection plate or leave it on the table in the foyer, we'll be able to get in touch with you based upon your communication style that you would like. As most folks probably realize, we're not doing a lot of announcements from the pulpit anymore. Our announcements come out in the Current, and they can also be posted on the bulletin board. So if you get your announcement to Michael Donnan, our administrator, by Tuesday noon, then it will be in the Thursday Current and posted for you. So for all of you who are members or friends who have expressed an interest in the congregation, you'll get that email. Alrighty. The last thing, point of business, is each week we do a Native Peoples Acknowledgement. It's our practice to acknowledge that the land where we are now gathered has not always been ours to call home. UUCSB acknowledges with respect that the land we are on today is the ancestral home of the Cherokee and of other indigenous peoples. The Cherokee, through stewardship, understanding, and conservation, survived and thrived in this land. We acknowledge their enduring connection to their homeland. So now, let our service begin.
Morning.
Good morning.
Lovely day. So, I found out today, a friend of mine who lives in New York, she goes to Riverside Church. Just,
You just need to turn it up.
is it on now?
No.
No.
Can you hear it?
It's off.
It's all the way up.
It's all the way up.
Is the toggle on?
Yeah. Well, still a beautiful day. It's not unusual. I'm dating myself, Tom Jones. Anyway, no, I was talking to a friend of mine in New York, and they go to a non-denominational Christian church, and it's Riverside. If you've been in New York, then you know it. It's like a cathedral. But they too have a homecoming today, and so it's just nice to know that other UU churches and other denominations at 11 o'clock, we're all sending this kind of energy out into the multiverse. So these opening words are from Kathleen McTeague. Into this home, we bring our hunger for awakening, and we bring compassionate hearts. We also bring a will towards justice. Into this home, we bring the courage to walk on after hard losses. And into this home, we bring, probably most importantly, our joy and gratitude for ordinary things. By our gathering, we bless this place, and in its shelter, we come to see ourselves blessed. So, maybe we'll get this fixed, maybe we won't. I do not like these mics. Thank you, God. But in the meantime, it's a first world problem. Please rise as you are willing and able, and join in singing our opening hymn this morning, number 347, Gather the Spirit.
Gather the Spirit, harvest of power, our separate fires will kindle one flame. Witness the mystery of this hour. Appear all the same. Gather in peace, gather in gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength. Gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit of our great ones came.
Please be seated. All the way up.
Hello?
There we go. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Great.
Sit closer.
Good morning. My name is Susan Dennis, and I have the privilege of being the religious education director at this congregation. At this time, I would like to invite those young and young at heart, anyone who'd like to come closer to see the photos of our story, to join me down in front. Good morning, friends. The story I've chosen this morning is called Watercress. It's by Andrew Wang with pictures by Jason Chin. And I apologize in advance if I cry at this one too, because, well, now you guys know me. Before I had my own children, I could read a storybook without tears, but now I'm a big softie. Watercress. We are in the old Pontiac. The red paint faded by years of glinting Ohio sun. Pelting rain and biting snow. The tops of the corn stalks make the line zigzag across the horizon. Mom shouts, "Look!" And the car comes to an abrupt, jerking stop. Mom's eyes are sharp as the tip of a dragon's claw. Dad's eyes grow wide. "Watercress!" they exclaim, two voices heavy with memory. From the depths of the trunk, they unearth a brown paper bag and rusty scissors, and a longing for China. They haul us out of the back seat. We are told to untie our sneakers, peel off our socks, and roll up our jeans. We have to help them gather it. The water in the ditch is very cold. It stings my ankles, and the mud squelches between my toes. A car passes by, and I duck my head, hoping it's no one I know. My parents cut bunches of a small plant, long, stringy stems with leaves round as coins. My big brother yanks watercress up by the handful, roots dripping dirty water, onto my shirt, and thrusts the clod in my face. There are tiny snails clinging to the underside. I squirm away. The bag in my hands grows heavier and heavier, the weight of all that water and watercress. The paper is soaked through, and I'm half afraid, half hopeful that the bottom will split and send all the plants back down into the muck. Finally, we load everything, the soggy bag, my sopping shirt, our sodden selves back into the car and head home, our original destination long forgotten, the memory of something else unearthed. On the dinner table that night is a dish of watercress, glistening with garlicky oil and freckled with sesame seeds. The mud and the snails are long gone. I still don't want to eat it. Any of it. The only way I want to eat vegetables is from the grocery store. Mom and Dad press me to try some. It's fresh, Dad says. It's free, Mom says. I shake my head. Free is bad. Free is handing out clothes and roadside trash, furniture stolen away, and now dinner from a ditch. Mom sighs and disappears into her room, returning with an old photograph. My family, she says, from before. Mom never talks about her child family. She points to a small boy, thin, like the stem of watercress. My little brother, your uncle. We hold our breaths. who never told us what happened to him. During the Great Famine, she says, we ate anything we could find. But it was still not enough. I look from my uncle's hollow face to the watercress on the table. I'm ashamed of being ashamed of my family. I take a bite of the watercress, and it bites me back with its spicy, peppery taste. It is delicate, slightly bitter, like Mom's memories of home. Together, we did all, and make a new memory of watercress.
Our responsive reading this morning in the back of the gray handbook is number 6, 3, and 4. And you'll read it responsibly. This is the Jewish calendar, the year 5784. Atonement Day. Once more, Atonement Day has come.
All pretense gone, naked heart reveals God himself.
We stand on holy ground between the day that was and the one that must be.
We tremble at what we became.
How did we stumble? What did we take?
What did we give? To what were we not?
Last year's confession came easily to the lips.
Will this year's come deeper than the sins?
Say then, why are our paths strewn with promises like fallen leaves?
Say then, when shall us meet with wisdom?
Say now.
Love and truth shall meet, justice and peace shall embrace.
Okay, there's enough water outside, but this is our Water Communion Sunday, which is the ritual for our Homecoming Sunday. And so I invite you now to come, if you brought some water, and pour it into one of these vases, and tell us where you got the water, briefly. And then, please be seated. So,
this water is from my tap, because when I go in the kitchen and turn the handle, water comes out and it will keep coming out as long as I have the handle turned. And so I bring this water symbolically for all the people in this world who don't have it.
This water comes from a place at Earthaven where I live that we consider to be sacred. It's called the Confluence, and it's where Rosie Branch Creek and Taylor Creek come together and become one. This water's from our beloved Lake Tomahawk in the rain.
And I got this water standing out in the parking lot, making sure everybody got a spot. And we didn't have any collisions, so. Thank you.
I got this water at my return center, but it is filtered.
water from the Grand River at the Light Center where I volunteered yesterday.
Rainwater from the roof of our house.
I live in an area of Weaverville which is called Dry Ridge. So anytime it rains, this is the water from my well with gratitude.
I moved to Black Mountain 6 years ago, and I saw Lake Tomahawk. I thought, that is gorgeous. And now every once in a while, I find myself taking it for granted, so I intentionally go and look at the fountain and everything, and there's water from Lake Tomahawk.
On my way down to visit my sister, I got refilled water from bottles from a Virginia gas station.
Water from the Chesapeake Bay.
This water comes from my wife and I's new apartment, so this is for new beginnings.
This water comes from the base of Allen Mountain, which many of you may know has cattle farms underneath it in that area. That's from our home and ancient teachings.
That was beautiful. I love it when we all come home together. And now that we're all together, I will invite any young people who'd like to join me in the RE space to leave this place. God bless everyone.
I want to share with you something from the Tao of Water. But it's long, but I'm not going to read all of it. It says, science declares water the universal solvent, and it continues to do so, but only in a different sense. But even it can erode metal and stone, and even the most complex of problems. Water prevails. Tao, the way, the absolute and the ultimate wisdom of the universe is believed by Taoists, is best exemplified by water, a formless, humble, and tranquil liquid, able to overpower even the toughest of clouds. The Tao of water is a simple one. Be it in drink or destination, it liberates, it absolves, and allows us to partake in the divine workings of nature and existence, enabling us to rediscover and to celebrate what we call life. So the moral is try to be more like water. This is the time in the service when we invite you to come and to share a joy or sorrow. Diane will, of course, be the fire keeper, and I think that mic is working. So, the floor is yours.
Hi, my name is Susan, and I mentioned last week or so that Maggie, my partner, is at Mountain Ridge Rehab Center, and she continues to be there. And she asked me to come and thank everyone here for their visits, calls, time spent with her, Hershey bars, and all of that good stuff. And she asked me to also thank the choir for sending her a lovely bouquet of fresh flowers yesterday. And she will continue to be there until she finishes rehab. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Anna Marcel de Hermanos, and I've had a week. Joys and sorrows so much that I kind of have been seeing my life's flashing before me. My little brother, well, he's not little, he's my youngest brother came to visit from Massachusetts. And he's the best of the family. My parents finally got it right. And so we were having that joy. And on the third day, Saturday night, was a commencement from Maida Commerce's Elder Women's Group. Any elder women here should just do that. So Bob, my brother, had just gotten there meeting us there, and he got a phone call from my other brother saying that a third brother had passed away. So, it was kind of the convergence of joys and sorrows. And then, what morning was that? I don't know. It's been that kind of a week. Two of my brothers went up to deal with my brother, and then an old boyfriend, who Ray loves too, just showed up to have coffee with us one morning. So the whole week has just been like stories coming at me. I'm sure it has meaning, but I wanted to share it with you and keep my brother James in your heart. He was a troubled soul, so send him grace.
It's better because you never know how much fire we could do if we're sleepy. My name is Joy. The sweet thing is that my brother, David, how did we get to brothers? Right over there. And it's such a treat to have him here. I moved down here because my two sons moved down here. But forget about my sisters and brother and all of that, they're not here. But we, of course, do a lot of texting. I came across something, and I figure most of us would be happy to have something that's a little funny. So this book is called, and you may have seen it, Kids Say the Darndest Things. What does your mom do? She's a Sunday school teacher. What does she do for fun? She plays poker and drinks beer. That's the first one. Where'd you get that blonde hair? Well, it's like my mother's used to be. What happened? She dyed it brown, and it came out purple. Did you get any instructions from home today? Yes. What were they? Not to eat sloppy and burp.
Morning, I'm Larry Perlman, and if you would like, Diane, 2 candles of concern. I had mentioned my friend Linda Briggs, who was on her bridge thing. She had broken her pelvic, gone into the hospital, then gone to rehab, then went home and fell again. Now she's broken her coccyx. Went to the hospital, now she's back in rehab. And also our friend Jessica, that many of you know, Jessica Thomas, Candle of Joy, because she's been in the hospital for 6 to 8 weeks because they couldn't find a place to put her, a group home. And now she's in Bear Mountain Nursing Home in North Asheville, and she's very happy to be there.
So for any one of you who decided for whatever reason not to come up and share, just know that we keep you in our hearts and in our prayers. I wanted to share with you, along the theme of homecoming, a sort of homecoming to oneself. One of my favorite poets, the West Indian poet Derek Walcott, has a wonderful poem. It's called Love After Love. You may have heard it, but I'd like to use it for this morning's meditation. So please center yourself as you see fit, and as usual, afterwards we will have our time of silence. The time will come when with elation you will greet yourself arising and arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome and say, sit here and eat. You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine and give bread. Give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you. This love has gone on all of your life, with whom you have ignored for another, who knows only you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photograph, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit and feast on your life. And now, while our minds are one, I leave you with the eloquence of silence. And so it is. William James reminds us that the greatest use of life is to spend it on something that will outlast it. And in that spirit, we will now collect this morning's offering. I don't think it was last year that the holidays fell on homecoming, but I wish you good Yontif and Shana Tova. Happy New Year. I too have a joke. Joy. I don't get much thunder, but I'll give you this one. This is from Larry Perlman, in case you don't like it. A rabbi is on his knees in front of the Torah, praying. He says, "Though I am nobody, Lord, I come before you and ask your blessing." The cantor hears the rabbi, and he too falls to his knees next to him and says, "Though I am nobody, Lord, I come before you and ask your blessing." The custodian is walking by. He hears them both and falls to his knees, repeating, "Though I am nobody, Lord, I come before you and ask for your blessing." The cantor nudges the rabbi and says, "Look who thinks he's nobody." I tell you what, human ego is something, isn't it? Believe me, I can tell you. I want to unpack this whole homecoming thing and get you out because I want to see the football game. That's going to be my homecoming. It's a 1 o'clock game. Humble or grand, home is where your heart, is where the heart belongs. When it is a place of shelter and love, there's no place like it. There's no place like home. It is then one of the sweetest words in any language. It suggests a nest, if you will, where intimacy and belonging can help you foster, help one foster a sense of identity and a sense of individuality. And so in a sense, this notion of homecoming is a continuation, if you will, of the human body. After all, when we come to this earth, our original and primary home on this earth is in this body. It houses the mind, it houses the heart and the spirit. We are in the world by way of a body. You and I are some body. And in order to be, we need to be home. When a place to belong is assured, the adventure of growth can begin with all of its potentiality and promise. And as I was writing this, the other day I was going by a group of homeless people, and yes, it tugs at the heartstrings, and I gave my little donation for what I had in my pocket. But I think that's what bothered me the most, that potentiality, the promise is squelched because there's no place for them to be, a shelter, if you will. During the fall, and especially in the winter around Christmas times, when I drive at night, like you, I see the lights on in different homes. And no, I'm not a peeping Tom, I'm not. But if I get to a light and I like to look at the decorations, but inside these homes, if you think about it, are the forces and mysteries of what goes on inside these homes. They are places of transformation, if you will. Homes are laboratories of the spirit. For in the home is where a human being is created. It is here that minds are opened or closed to discover others and to discover what we get to know about ourselves. The discoveries are sometimes conscious and unconscious. Most of what happens in the home unfolds in the routine moments, the everyday moments of our lives. But as the philosopher Kierkegaard reminds us, that life is lived forward, but it can only be understood backwards. And so later on in life, when we begin to look more closely in the past, it's really quite incredible how the roots of our identity and experience and presence lead back to childhood, where whatever was going on in the kitchen or the living room had a lot to form this influence over us. And so the origin of the word dwell, dwelling place, to dwell, it means to dig deep. And so that's what I want us to do this morning when we talk about homecomings. Born into a house, the child begins to grow in the deepest of places. In the early silence of childhood, experience becomes deeply embedded, and whatever happens there molds the sensitivities of the mind and the heart. If we as parents were aware of how much secretly depends on what it means to raise a child, we'd be paralyzed with the weight of the responsibility. Home is where we begin, and it eventually also determines how we start to become who we are. Home is where we originate, for better or for worse. The simple act, I don't know if you feel this sometimes, but the simple act of walking into someone's home can be revelatory. You've walked in from the anonymity of the streets into the intimacy of a person's private residence or sanctuary. Well, now that's an interesting word as well, since we are here in this, it means a place of safety and refuge. We are here gathered in this sanctuary. But there is some way in which the home somehow shows us the presence of what it holds inside. Outside of the home, we and other family members, we become different. And that's most likely, I think, because of the different situations we find ourselves in. But when we are in the home, when we are with family, we are also different. If you're fortunate, perhaps a bit more relieved, if you will. And while this relief may be subtle or concealed, it is still there. Perhaps it can be viewed or sensed when you look at old family photographs in yearbooks, or years later, when you can see yourself as a child, maybe among other siblings or other family members. But at that time, you were not really aware of the psychological and spiritual forces that were at work, because they are, and they were then, and they always will be. Parents are, at their best, invisible creators, because quietly, day after day, their care and nurturing and kindness foster the unseen landscapes of a child's mind as they go about the journey of life. The nature of the mind and what becomes valued is all fostered at home. In Plato's Symposium, Plato says that one of the highest human privileges is to be the midwife of the birth of the soul in another human being. And this is the precious and eternal work that parents do. Bringing a child physically into the world is probably one of the greatest gifts that we can offer one another. It's a gift that is, once it's given, it can't be taken away by anyone else. It's an inner gift that will inform and illuminate the journey of the child. But we want to be clear here. I don't want to romanticize. There's no such thing as perfect parents, as some of you know. All parents make mistakes, some heinous and terrible mistakes, and inevitably leave a lesser or greater trail of damage to the individual. In later life, it is often a painful and difficult task for a person to discern and integrate what happened in their childhood we have to do it at some point, and it can be long and tedious work, but it can yield fruit of forgiveness, of freedom, and probably most importantly, tranquility of the heart. So despite its huge inner significance for mind and soul, the home is a place of transience. In order to grow up, we have to what? We have to leave. We have to leave home. If you are 66 years old and you're still angry at your parents, you have not severed the umbilical cord. You have not left home. This is important. But just like a mother bird pushes her little ones out of the nest, that's the only way that we really get a chance to learn to fly. The wholeness of a home depends much on its ability to be able to prepare its young to leave the nest, to risk trusting its wings, to take them to unknown elsewheres, and where they can build their own individual nests. Parents then have to deal with the empty nest syndrome. All of us here have wounds from childhood. Some of them we cover up well, some of them we are still coping with, some of them just trigger us and make our life much more difficult than it needs to be. But it all goes back to home. Home is where the heart is. It stands for the sure center where our individual journeys are shaped. It gives us the capacity to learn to be at home with ourselves. There is something that is usually overlooked. Well, this is what I was just mentioning, but it is a vital requirement for our own creativity and integrity to become individuals, to become who we are. The poet says, "This is me, for that I came." I came to be me, whatever that means and whatever that is. It has to do with the essence of a person, the soul, if you will, not a scientific word, but it's the inner ground, the inner grounding that we all need. When a person is at home in his or her life, it's a beautiful thing to behold, they always have a clear instinct about the shape of their situations or experiences. Even in the midst of chaos and confusion, he or she can discern the path they need to go. When one is at home in oneself, one is integrated and enjoys a sense of balance and pride. This is what it means to come home. This is why we celebrate homecoming figuratively, because UU churches and my friend's church up in Harlem, you come home to yourself. We're welcoming you and each other back from the summer, from the journeys in and out, or the travels. And so the notion of home or homecoming is to settle into a place where you can feel safe, ideally, comfortable, and not feel separate from others in the community. Home is where you can grow your soul. Home is where you can cultivate your interior life, and that hopefully this congregation can be your spiritual headquarters, if you will, your interior life headquarters. The words of Celtic author John O'Donohue come to mind. He wrote a wonderful poem called "Coming Home to Yourself." He says, "May all that is forgiven in you be released. May your fears yield their deepest tranquilities. May all that is uninvited and unlived in you blossom into a future grace with love." To the degree that you and I find our way to become walking homecomings, by our living example, we help the entire world, in the words of the poet Seamus Heaney, to come home to a place where hope and history rhyme. Or, in the words of the mystic and my spiritual father, if you will, Howard Thurman, to one day live in a friendly world of friendly folks beneath a friendly sky. This is what homecoming is, the art of homecoming. Amen. Ashe, and blessed be. I have nothing to do with the physical thing at home, but it's good to be home, and welcome home. Welcome back. It's good to see you. Our closing hymn this morning, number 346. Come sing a song with me.
Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
Okay, can we give some love to Susan? Two Susans, because Susan gave us that lovely story. Evan, for making us live forever. Our closing words. May the love which overcomes all differences and which heals all wounds and which puts to flight all of our fears and reconciles all who are separated. May that love be with us now and always, and especially until we meet again. Have a wonderful, soggy afternoon.